So it looks like Luka Dončić is starting to get some in-game reps with the Luka 4, notably getting a triple-double against his old team, which was actually pretty cool to see. But aside from all the marketing that went around that debut of that shoe, with him bringing the new car, him paying for all the Laker fans parking, the other big shoe story around Luka Dončić is the fact that he's been playing in the Luka 1s, even though he's had 2 other signature shoes come out since then, and now another, the Luka 4. And a lot of people have been asking if I know why he's in the Luka 1s or what my opinion is of them. After going back and watching him play a bunch in both of them and just kind of looking at the shoes again, I have come to some conclusions. And I'll preface this video by saying one thing, and one thing I'll still stand behind even though he's still using the 1s. I like the Luka 3s quite a bit more than the 1s and the 2s. To me, it's Luka 3, Luka 1, then Luka 2 in terms of that trio of shoes. The Luka 4 right now, it almost looks like the Tatum 2 without all the infinity figure 8 things on the side. So we'll see what that actually has underneath of the hood once I tear them open. That video may have already been out by now, so you can check that out. The reasons I like the Luka 3 over the 1, number 1, the lateral flange, nice and long, pretty sharp there. It gives a lot of coverage for side-to-side containment. That ISO plate comes up pretty high in the uppers, connects underneath of the shoe. So side-to-side containment on these things, I felt was fantastic for a shoe with this low profile of a shank. I thought that was awesome. The outsole tread, I thought was a really nice mixture of the translucent and the dyed rubber, the pivot point under the big toe, having all that kind of spaced out rubber there just gave like a really nice nimble feeling of grip under there. The uppers felt just a little bit more enveloping, containing, just all around. Like I said, I like the 3s more than the 1s. The one thing that the 1s have over the 3s as well as the 2s especially though, and that is that the Luka 1 uppers have the perfect blend of flexibility and containment. If you've watched any of my game-worn or match-worn pro shoe teardown videos, you'll see you can fit a lot into the midsole of a shoe that nobody else can see. It's a lot harder to do in the uppers of a shoe. Now with the Luka 1, you get flight wire that comes all the way from the lateral heel all the way around here into the forefoot. So, I mean, you've seen the Luka step back 1,000 times, right? He pushes into that shoe so hard. But the other thing is a lot of times he's doing those slow, lumbering Euro steps, but he's moving a lot more nimble than you'd think he is. I mean, number 1, Luka Dončić is a big dude, right? And then he's trying to weave through defenders through the hoop, or sometimes step back, where hit these ridiculous floater shots, these no-look passes. And a lot of times he's making some really quick on-the-fly adjustment steps. And so for that, you might want the flexibility in the uppers of the Luka 1, which I guess you could put the flight wire in the Luka 3 or in the Luka 2, whatever, you could kind of hide it. But then, it would probably just bulk the shoe up too much. Plus, right underneath of that, the ISO plate on the 1, it's all midsole bound versus the ISO plate on the 3s and the 2s, which comes up into the uppers. He might not like that stiffness in the uppers. He might have a little bit of a lump and bump there that just bothers him with it. And if he really just wants that ISO plate for, quick kind of pivoting containment, then the 1s are going to be a lot better for him just because they're just a little bit more flexible, a little more malleable, easier to move around. Plus the ankle collar on the 1s, you sit deep into there just as well as in the 3s, but like I said, with a lighter upper. So remember, what you and I are seeing maybe on TV as more like, deliberate lumbering steps like him, like Jokic makes sometimes. What you're not seeing, what's going on underneath of the skin, is all these rapid fire adjustments, these fast twitches from muscles, number 1, in his foot, the intrinsic muscles of the foot, the really small ones, but also the large muscles of the leg. He's making thousands of these little adjustments there. And so does he need this, really wide lateral flange of the 3s that someone like me would really like? No, probably not, because his muscle memory is so good. His proprioception is so good. His court vision is so good. His not basketball IQ, but basketball footwork IQ is so much better than I think people give him credit for, especially when he is just kind of contorting himself just on one foot. So in his case, because he's got the skills that he has, and he's one of the few in the world that have it, to me, he might just want the flexibility of the uppers or the 1s and a little bit more of the low profile ISO plate of the 1s versus the bigger and bulkier ones of the 2s and the 3s. But even with those differences between the 1s and the rest of the line, I still think the reason he's using the 1s, so much more than the 2s, the 3s, probably the 4s, it just comes down to between the ears, right? He's comfortable in this shoe. This is what he has gotten to know. the fit of these just might fit his foot better, even though, yeah, he's getting custom lasted shoes. These are made in the shape of his foot. There's another pro athlete, Alex DeMinor on the Pro Tennis Tour, who just did not want to move from one line of Asics to the next, and it had nothing to do with the shoe. It had all to do with they couldn't get the next line of shoes just to fit that exact shape of his foot just because of how the shoe was molded. And so, yeah, I mean, the 2s and the 3s are a little bit different, right, than the 1s. And so the last on the 1s, even though they're all custom to his foot, the 1s just might fit his orthotics better, just might fit him better. He just might have a thing, like I said, between the ears where he just feels more, psychologically comfortable in the 1s. That happens a lot. Your shoes sometimes could be almost just become a security blanket to you. And so that just might be with Luka. Like I said, there are definite material differences between the shoes, but I think there's also the psychological component as well, which, hey, in the NBA, when you're in a league that tough, you're trying to stand out, you're trying to win a championship, any edge counts. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you want to see what I'm talking about with some pro stock shoes, I did cut open Rafa Nadal's custom match-worn shoes, which are completely different than anything you could ever find in a store. Make sure you click into this feed up above and subscribe down below. Respect your rubber and foam. I'll see you somewhere in the Sneakerverse.